I'm not, and I have somebody. No,
I called, right? Or no?
no, I'm not. No,
On the 2040?
no. He's trying to get in.
Hello, dear. We're glad you're there. I can.
What is happening in our city, our state, our country, the world? I mean, our show is going to cover what the heck is happening in the world, our state, our city,
And there's big stuff
and the
happening.
country. There's big.
And John, President Trump came out just a little bit ago saying that these threats from Iran are serious, they're credible. He said he's been surrounded by more guns than he's ever seen in his life. And clearly the fact that they were briefed, the campaign and the president was briefed, shows this is a big threat.
Let me tell you something. I don't think the Biden administration is going to. I hope they work hard enough at it, but I don't have the faith. Iran stands to lose $300 billion if President Trump becomes president again. $300 billion is a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
And then on the other side, a lot of people in the United States of America that have committed wrongs. Well, if Trump becomes president, there's going to be, all we want is the rule of law.
Right. And they don't want it exposed.
They don't want to be exposed. Rudy Washington.
What I'm more disappointed about, John, is our president that all of us lived under over the last 75, 80 years, that will not tolerate if you have a hair on his head, that's an act of war and you're next. Not a president. What about that? Makes me very, very angry. Why hasn't President Biden stood up and said, you do something to him, you're next?
Well, you know what? He didn't say
Delivery.
those two different attempts. Remember, he did a little Oval Office address that was barely a reference, and the rhetoric has increased.
Delivery.
But Kamala Harris also has not done that either, John, and she knows that.
Yo, pain low.
I will.
Yo, pain low.
Biden is not a well man, and I can't blame him. But who, like, it goes back to what we talked about yesterday. Who the heck is running the country?
Right. That's a scary thing, and the world is a mess right now.
I feel better, and I spoke to General Secretary.
Right.
I spoke to General Flynn today, and he's going to be on my show on Sunday morning. And General King is shocked that our Navy, the Commander-in-Chief, hasn't, our Navy and our Air Force can take out the Houthis and open up the Suez Canal and the Red Sea in 72 hours.
but it's an interesting point, John, because it could change, and it would change everything. Prices, inflation, why would you not?
We're on the verge of World War II. Along the Alaskan border, there was the report said 20 ships.
1 hour to get back to the city.
It was Russia and China along the Alaska border. 400 ships, and then we have the Suez Canal. Then we have Israel attacking Lebanon, and then we have the Ukraine. I mean, enough is enough.
By the way, I got to tell you what Zelensky said today, because this is really
Zelensky is going to Pennsylvania.
He went to Pennsylvania to an ammo store.
Who paid for it? Well, don't forget.
Looks like we did.
Miranda Devine's book, Miranda Devine on Friday, everybody listen to it. They accused the possibility of $300 to $500 million of kickbacks to the Democratic Party, and it's being investigated by Congress. So it's up to them to determine.
Right, absolutely. That's through the
Why is the White House paying for Zelensky to go to Pennsylvania?
Well, the
to
GOP
stand there
is
with Kamala?
investigating. GOP is investigating.
You know why? I'm going to give you the reason. Because I don't think you can get any money from Trump as the president.
Right, he's clearly trying to
This is a political risk.
But let me tell you also what happened this morning. This is stunning, guys. This is at the UN. Zelensky speaking. Yeah. When you heard this, Rudy, Zelensky today sat there and he said to the workers, he's trying to, of course, get more money, and he's realizing, like you said, the clock is limited at this point if Trump comes in. He said, you know what, we are worried about an attack on nuclear power plants by Russia. That's scary.
What do we have?
We haven't had a song before it. Boy, do we need some love after all these things we're talking about. Michael Goodwin, the world is on fire and the world's on chaos. And you talked about this in your column. A lot of it courtesy of the Biden-Harris administration.
A lot of it?
All of it.
Yes, thank you, Rita and John. Yes, I used the president's speech at the UN yesterday, which I thought was dreadful in the sense of his not being aware, I think, of his role in this and his policies, how they have set these clashes in motion and created this danger. I mean, the talk of World War III is louder than I've ever heard it. And certainly we had our showdowns with the old Soviet Union in the 60s and thereafter. But now you have this kind of multipolar world war talk of Iran and China and Russia, North Korea. I mean, the cat is really out of the bag, and it looks like it is headed toward this kind of giant clash, and Biden just seems to be, whistling past the graveyard. I mean, he doesn't seem to be aware of these things or take them seriously, and so he gave this speech where he talks about, the horrors of Iraq and Vietnam, but, I've been around long enough to know that things get better, things can get better, and my retort to that is, yes, but then we had leaders, and we don't have a leader now, and things will not get better under his leadership, which will soon pass, but certainly if Kamala Harris is elected, I think we'll be even deeper in the soup.
Yeah, I agree. Judge Weinberg.
Michael, the problem is you're not just dealing with people who have military ambitions or territorial ambitions. You're talking about fundamental zealots who believe in otherworldly rewards and believe that they have to dominate by the sword everybody else. There's nobody who's safe, and that's why it really is. It's not Israel's problem. It's Western civilization's problem, Michael.
Absolutely. Years ago, Henry Kissinger said that Iran had to decide whether it is a country or a cause. And all these years later, I think we can say it's a cause. It has decided to be a cause to create war an aggression and mayhem throughout the region, ultimately aiming at what it calls the little Satan, Israel, and the great Satan, the United States. Now, Iran has never denounced that, and it still chants. People still chant that at some of the military rallies. And yet President Obama and now President Biden both act as though Iran is just another country, and that they can woo it into some sphere of cooperation and global contributions. But I think they have totally misread what Iran is about. It is a cause. It is Islamic fundamentalism, and it is committed to that around the world. And so from the supporting Hamas and Hezbollah and the Houthis in the Mideast to trying to assassinate President Trump, Mike Pompeo, maybe John Bolton as well. I mean, these are not, and spreading mayhem throughout, these are not the actions of a country. This is an ideological zealotry, and Joe Biden has not come to grips with that reality.
And they don't understand eschatology of that.
But you know what's sad though, you guys? Yesterday, when the president addressed the UN General Assembly, his final speech, it's his swan song. What does he do? He referenced climate change 6 times, and he referenced Iran, which we all agree is an enormous threat, 2 times. What does that say to you? I mean, that says everything to me, Michael Goodwin. Right.
And then he followed up by going on The View.
Yes. And by the way, you see yesterday's performance on The View, right? Today, they asked him, the ladies on The View said, so we heard you got pushed out by Pelosi. And he was like, no, that's not really what happened.
Right. It wasn't just Pelosi, it was Obama and Schumer.
Disabilities until the debate in June with Donald Trump. And then they realized they couldn't hide it anymore and that he was going to lose by a landslide. And so they effectively pulled a coup to take the nomination away from him. I think perhaps in the future we will learn the ins and outs and the details and what threats they made. Did they threaten, as there have been reports, they threatened to remove him as president, to invoke the 25th Amendment and to remove him as president. So he got to keep the job as a consolation prize. But we can see the world is getting worse. And look, if you are running one of those countries we just discussed, you would say, well, for sure we have 3.5 months of Joe Biden's tenure left, so we can do what we want to do then. Then if Kamala Harris is elected, we have 4 years. If Donald Trump is elected, he's going to push us back. So what are we going to do? I think they're going to use this time to deepen their aggressions, to go full steam ahead with only Israel stopping them in the Mideast. And then if it looks like Harris is going to win, then they know they got a playground for the foreseeable future.
Michael Goodwin, do you think the Israeli people have confidence that if they got into a bad skirmish with Iran, that will the United States back them up?
That is the big question, John. I would be surprised. I mean, I think Joe Biden has shocked a lot of Israelis with his commentary. You know, it's very interesting. When Barack Obama left the presidency over his treatment of Israel vis-a-vis Iran and with the Palestinians, Obama's approval rating in Israel was in single digits. Then you have followed him, you have Trump, who does the Abraham Accords, moves the embassy to Jerusalem, approves the annexation of, recognizes the annexation of the Golan Heights, and supports Israel and attacks Iran, drones Soleimani. Trump becomes the most popular president, American president in the history of Israel. I mean, the whole country is wowed by Donald Trump. And now you shift again to Biden, who is clearly now coming into Obama territory with Israeli disapproval and fear that he has abandoned Israel in the midst of the Hamas invasion, and always says, well, Israel has a right to defend itself, and then comes the but. And the but is essentially you can't leave your own border. You can't really attack. You can only defend. Well, what kind of war is that? As my colleague Douglas Murray says, Israel's the only country that's not allowed to win a war. So I do think that there is a lot of fear about what will happen if Harris is elected among many Israelis, because it's not just about Israel, it's about Iran. It's about all of those groups that it sponsors. It's about sort of the terrorist network around the world. If it is emboldened and successful in the Mideast, and it's going to turn more and more of its attention to the United States and to European countries.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, we're on the radar already.
We have a mess in our hands, whether it's the Pacific, whether it's the Suez Canal, whether it's Lebanon, whether it's Ukraine. We're on the verge of a big mess. I could say the sea in the Philippines.
Yeah, don't leave out that.
And I think we should not overlook that the role of Afghanistan in all of this. It really did, I think, alert the world that America was in retreat and that Joe Biden could be rolled. And that's exactly the approach they have taken.
Absolutely. And she was the last one in the room. Let's not forget that, too.
That's right.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you so much, and we'll catch up again soon. And
all right.
Let's go to John Fund.
Absolutely. We have John Fund, everybody, National Review reporter, also great pollster. John, you wrote a bombshell story. It's in the Daily Caller News Foundation, published it. Get ready for another mail-in ballot fiasco. Explain.
Well, in 2020, almost 60% of all votes were cast by mail or by early voting. And that is up from only 20% in 2016. So even though that number may go down a little bit this year, a lot of mailing is going to be done. And I don't know if we can really count on those votes being received by voters properly, being filled out by voters properly, or being returned by voters in time to actually be counted. And we have seen some primaries this year where 2%, 3% of all the absentee ballots sent out didn't make it back in time to be counted. And we all know this election is going to be down to 7 battleground states where the margin is going to be below 2%. We literally may have an election. What mail ballots are in the mail, and whether or not, like checks that people say are in the mail, they ever existed, or will they'll ever be counted.
Wow, that is horrible. And this mailing and this opening up 35, 40, 45 days ahead of time, there's no way you can watch these polling booths. And don't forget Dropbox. We're an awful thing. And they go to a senior citizen home and they send unsolicited mail ballots. Yep, ballot ballots. All this stuff. Should we stop? John, it's Richard Wyman. What I want to ask you is, do you know about the Arizona State Supreme Court, which said that there are almost 90,000 illegal migrants on the polls, and they try to get them off, and the Supreme Court of Arizona said, no, we can't disenfranchise them? Is that crazy? Doesn't the federal constitution make it clear only citizens can vote in the federal election?
It's even worse than that. It's even more outrageous than you think.
Wow. I mean, is the Trump organization, or is what's her name, the senator there?
You mean, Carrie Lake?
Carrie Lake doing anything about that?
I'll be quite honest with you. I'm not a fan of Carrie Lake, nor do I think that she has a legal and intellectual powerhouse to be able to handle that issue properly before the election.
Is somebody looking into it, John? Because I think that's an interesting point. I mean, how can you allow these to be on there?
The only appeal is to the entire Arizona Supreme Court. Do you think they're going to go against their own Chief Justice? I don't think so.
Wow.
They have to come up with a federal cause of action because it's a violation of the federal Constitution. They got to move it into federal court.
Yeah, get it out.
The odds of the Supreme Court hearing that case are how much?
Wow.
Amazingly enough, sent out a letter, and I have to tell you, I've never seen such a letter. Went out to all of his workers, and here's what it said. I am writing to you to warn you of an existential threat facing our union and your jobs. If Donald Trump wins the upcoming election, it could prove a threat to our union and our contract. Your vote matters. Consider how the consequences could affect you, your job, and our union when deciding how to vote. It's signed by the Georgia Postal Workers President, Don Griggs. Now, I have to tell you, if I were a union member and my president wrote me and said my job and contract would be at risk if Donald Trump was elected, how eager do you think I would be in delivering or collecting ballots in heavily Republican precincts and making sure that they were counted?
That is a stunner.
He should be charged with election interference.
I was about to say, that's illegal. I mean, to me, that is so over the top. You know, John, the judge said about Arizona, there are other states, too, where there's a lot of question on these voter rolls. We had, Governor Abbott on, who was talking about how many they found in Texas. Glenn Youngkin talked about in Virginia. How much
I
is
want
that?
everybody to understand. Harry Lake last time North got about 20,000 votes.
It was,
It was about 15,000.
15,000.
Yeah, that's,
and what we're talking about is 98,000 illegal votes when the difference was only 15,000 votes.
That's a great point.
Every American person out there listening to this show, just think about that.
Well, it's even worse than that. Donald Trump only lost Arizona by 10,000 votes.
Oh my
Wow.
God.
The same number that he lost Georgia by, which was 10,000 votes.
So they're stacking the thing by 98,000 votes.
That's stunning.
Well, look, to be perfectly honest with you, illegal aliens tend not to vote because they worry about, shall we say, showing up in a government agency. So the answer is it may not be 98,000, but if it's 20,000, 30,000, 10,000, it's still a serious problem.
John, should be one.
Of course, I understand that. But, we're, the three of us are not the judges who are going to be hearing this case. Let's be honest with that. So I think that what's even more disturbing is our postal service literally is collapsing. I mean, I don't know about you, but the last time I sent a letter to California, it took 9 days to get there. The Postal Service is deliberately slowing down its mail because it cannot handle the processing. And here's what's even worse. They're focusing all of the first-class mail in regional distribution centers. So often if you mail a letter in Utah and mail it out, it goes to Las Vegas for redistribution and to be sent back to Utah. Well, that happened in the Utah primary election just 2 months ago. So 980 absentee votes were mailed by people to their local county clerk. Instead of a county clerk getting them, they went to the post office distribution center in Las Vegas, the neighboring state, and they didn't get back in time to be counted. And the primary in Utah was decided by 117 votes, and 980 votes that were cast weren't counted.
Wow. Yeah, you know what? I'm sitting here, John, and you and I have known each other a long time. I'm saying, how can anyone have faith in the election process? I mean, what do you say to people,
Well, what do you say about the post office? Does anyone have faith in the post office? If you want a ticket at the New York lottery, you get a prize. I don't even care if it's $50. If they ask you to mail in your lottery ticket to claim your prize, would you do it? I don't think so.
Yes, never. Scam. All right, John, thank you. Wow.
John Bunn, you got to come on more often. If you say and do the right things and tell the American people the truth, and we enjoy doing it.
And my piece on this is up in today's...
Quick break. After the break, we are talking to former National Security Advisor under Trump, General Keith Kellogg. Some big stuff happening in Israel, and also talk about these threats to Trump.
And now, with another business success story, here's Joe Conley.
Instead of showing the prices on their website, Better Housekeeping Appliances and Red Bank's website says call for our best price. That can start a conversation, but owner Mike Belforti says there are a lot of other good reasons. Why do you quote that way?
The reason for that is the salespeople I have, some with 30 years experience, are so knowledgeable we can sometimes save them money. We don't get to the home and uncrate the unit and we can't get it into the house and now the customer's upset and it doesn't help anyone.
It works. Better Housekeeping has customers in New Jersey and beyond. How's business right now, I asked.
I feel the economy right now is steady.
Mike Belforti of Better Housekeeping Appliances and other sellers say the appliance replacement business is strong because appliances.
You get the watermelon.
He says sales of luxury brands are down a little.
Thank you.
I'm Joe Connolly on 77 WABC.
This is a 77 WABC News. Road to the election update. New polling data points to a growing trend. Latino voters are increasingly becoming Republican voters. As per a survey from the Texas Hispanic Policy Foundation, Mark Jones ran the poll.
What we found here is that Harris is doing better among Hispanics than Biden was, but still has only a 6% lead over Trump. Republicans in the past were in the mid-30s. Now they're increasingly in the mid-40s.
Jones says they asked why Hispanics were voting for Trump. 1 in 5 respondents cited border security. And Jones says the poll found that Latinos prefer Vice President Kamala Harris over President Joe Biden, but by an increasingly shrinking percentage.
What we've seen, especially over the past decade, is a movement among Texas Hispanics towards the Republican Party.
And these overall trend lines not lost on Democrats. The Harris Walls campaign kicked off Hispanic Heritage Month with a $3 million investment in Spanish-language radio ads, with Harris also holding an event earlier this week in Austin, Texas. Meanwhile, local officials in Texas say a Venezuela street gang called Tren de Agua is coming across the border into Texas, but not staying there. In fact, many of their members have arrived here in New York City, where cops blame the gang for a string of thefts in high-end retail stores. James Flippin for 77 WABC. Hey, New York City, we want you to take a look.
In DC, HQ 72, Mesquite.
We need to do the pasta because I close and I start again. But I did. I'm in the Bronx.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, packages downstairs.
Q-tips.
Q-tips and cream shave. Ayas, tayas, ayas. Secret. You're not allowed to go doing read every day. Once a while.
I'm coming with you.
No way, Jose. No way. No place in the house.
Which shop you going to?
I'm not going anywhere. I'm coming home.
You can only go if you eat.
There's a lot of packages downstairs. I'm gonna bring the packages.
Yeah, a lot of packages.
Yeah.
What kind of packages? Donna didn't eat. But Donna didn't eat.
Look on the app.
Packages. But Donna didn't eat. Delivered today, delivered today, delivered today. Is mine delivered today? You're in Zion for this delivered today. Uh-huh. Yes? Yes. Yay! Okay.
I need cream shaving. Should I use whipped cream, Aya?
Yes, whipped cream.
Whipped cream is better than shaving cream.
Because then you can eat it instead of shaving it off.
Yeah, you can eat and shave in the same time. That's genius. It look the same. Look the same, taste the same.
No, don't push. No, don't push. I said don't push. Why not? Because it arranges like that. Because I need a place for the birthday. If you're gonna push it, no more place for
curtain in the shower. The old one no good, Chichi.
Okay, don't forget the Q-tips.
Send me a text.
Don't forget the tool.
Packages everyday Christmas with Aya.
Don't forget the tool.
I'm the toy.
Don't forget the real toy.
The real toy. I'm what? I'm a fake toy? You're talking.
Yeah, you're just a daddy.
I'm a fake toy.
You're just a daddy.
Daddy. I pay all the bills. I pay all the bills. You don't pay anything.
So then you pay my toy.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't pay anything also. I'm not your problem. I'm your solution. What are you talking about?
You're the problem.
I'm your problem? How am I your problem when I'm your solution?
Why are you laughing?
Your piece of jacket. When you pick up Aya, why you don't go to Duane Reade? Are you afraid? You're afraid to take her to Duane Reade. Okay, later.
See you.
Later. That's why I'm asking, why you didn't take Aya to Duane Reade?
No, it's not Papadillo, it's Daddy.
What is me? Why you accusing me? Are you accusing me of something?
Huh?
Why you said it's Daddy? Why you accusing me of something?
She said, am I calling Papadillo? I said, no, Papadillo, Daddy.
Papadillo is Bowser.
Okay, see you later. Get stop.
Yeah, Dr. Ray, say hello, MJ. I'm eating my watermelon.
cell phone with all the messages of all the Secret Service has been wiped clean. Does this smell? Or, I mean, you're a very smart guy, I can tell. Does this smell or does not smell?
Well, you know, there are clearly some issues within Secret Service that need to look at it. You know, it used to be they were a preeminent training organization. They trained exceptionally well. But somebody needs to say, how are we selecting these people? And if you say this,
but
people
no, it's not the Secret Service. It's the leadership.
The issue of diversity, equity, inclusion. What are we doing? What are we hiring the best people? Look, I don't care.
It's the leadership, General. Somebody pressed those buttons. It wasn't the regular rank and file of the Secret Service. Somebody up above, and it could be a political appointee.
That's true. It shouldn't be at all. It should be some professionals that make that determination. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, General, thank you very much. Really appreciate your perspective. We always love having you on. Thank you.
Well, thanks for having me on. Sometimes it's hard to get me because I'm on the road all the time. So.
Well, you're a busy guy. They love you as much as we do.
You want to tell the American people the truth and what the heck is going on, and I thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you very
Wait
much.
up. That's some hot news. Let's do it.
Top news of the day, sponsored by Goya. Here's Rita Cosby.
Well, we were talking about President Trump, and former President Donald Trump has confirmed, as we were saying, that he was briefed by intelligence officials about ongoing Iranian threats to assassinate him. Trump said that the sitting president needs to be firm with Iran or any other country that makes those threats. He added, if he were president again, the world would fear the United States. And also, as world leaders are gathering at the UN in Manhattan, an Israeli military official says forces are preparing for a potential ground incursion into Lebanon. The Israeli military says troops have been told that the recent airstrikes against Lebanon are to both prepare the ground for your possible entry and to continue degrading Hezbollah. And those are the big headlines of the day.
There are black beans, and then there are Goya black beans. Whole, plump, delicious, and loved by all kinds of chefs. The professional chefs at Chef's Bet love them so much, they awarded our beans their Excellence Award. At Home Chefs love them so much, they awarded our beans the internationally acclaimed Goya black beans. Whole, plump, oh so delicious. Find them in the Goya section of your local grocery store. If it's Goya, it has to be good.
77 WABC Suffolk County Police Benevolent Association chime time is 5:40.
Back the blue. Visit SuffolkPBA.org or visit the Suffolk PBA social media pages to learn about public safety issues and heroic actions of Suffolk PBA members. They are your neighbors, protecting your neighborhood.
You never know who's going to be on the Cats Roundtable. Go around the world in 2 hours every Sunday morning at 8 with the Cats Roundtable, where common sense prevails on 77 WABC. WABC, traffic and transit.
South on the Major Deegan, right by the Bronx. Watch out for a crash. And over in Brooklyn, delays both ways on Flatbush Avenue at the Ville Parkway. An accident there. In New Jersey, east on 280 at exit 14, a collision blocks the two right lanes. NJ Transit and Amtrak into and out of Penn Station, New York, up to 30-minute delays due to an Amtrak train derailment. Outbound Holland, the worst, 40 minutes. Outbound Lincoln, 30. The outbound GW Bridge is heavy. WABC traffic is sponsored by Benjamin Steakhouse. I'm Lisa Ritchie.
Experience sizzling, mouth-watering, dry-aged steak in a luxurious atmosphere at Benjamin Steakhouse in Midtown Manhattan and Westchester County. Indulge in their special tomahawk steaks and creamless cream spinach. Visit BenjaminSteakhouse.com to check out their delicious menus.
On your radio.
I listen to this station all day long.
On the 77 WABC app and on all your devices. Play 77 WABC. You're commuting home. I'm Cosby. Now here's John Catsimatidis and Ray Cosby on 77 WABC.
So where are all the polls these days? We're getting whiplash, so let's go one of the great pollsters out there, John McLaughlin with McLaughlin and Associates, Trump's pollster, and many others. John, what are you seeing?
Wisconsin. Pennsylvania, there's 2 college bowls out, Muhlenberg and Susquehanna, 2 major powers in collegiate sports. They've got it tied. So, but the Democrats are fretting because I heard your earlier segment with John Fund, and you're talking about the mail-in votes, etc. But the Republicans are voting by mail more likely now. They're the early 7 battleground states that are going to decide the election are voting right now by mail. Just North Carolina, Pennsylvania, etc. And the Republicans are exceeding their past record from 2020, and the Democrats are down. So, I think a lot of the Trump members are vote early.
Arizona. I mean, Trump only lost by 10,000 votes, and Harry Lake lost by 15,000 votes. And the Arizona Supreme Court, the justice alone,
were brought.
By the way, John, I want to bring in Judge, because Judge, who is standing in something like that?
Court of Arizona and staying outside. They mishandled registering these people, and they should be knocked off the ballot.
Yeah, I mean, former Congressman John Sweeney, who's very good at election law, is working with the campaign ballot integrity section. I spoke to him about that yesterday, and they're going to try to bring it. So anyway, but I'm not a lawyer, so you should speak. You should speak with him about it, but the Trump campaign's fighting this every day. So, but in the meantime, those of us on the political end, where we're trying to get out the vote, Arizona is one of the states where we're doing better. Like every poll has its ahead, and it's more than 1 or 2 points. It's 4 or 5 points. So, and it's because we're doing better with Hispanic voters right now. And the 2 states that I see in play that, weren't in play last time for the Republicans are clearly Nevada, where Donald Trump there's polls coming out every day that we're tied or ahead. And also Minnesota, we're close. Virginia, we're also close too. But the key thing about Nevada and Arizona is we're doing better with Hispanic voters. And they're rejecting Harris's tax increases. I mean, she gave an economic speech today in Pittsburgh, but she never mentioned that she wants to have a $5 trillion tax hike, raising taxes on 91% of all Americans, including raising capital gains on your retirement savings, 401ks.
Well, her values haven't changed. Her values haven't changed. Rudy, super quick.
John, how are we doing down ballot?
Yep, real quick, John.
Down ballot, a lot of Senate races are close. I believe we're going to take the Senate. It looks like the Democrats are giving up on Montana, and they've given up on West Virginia, given up on Montana. We have close races already in Nevada. Kerry Lake is close in Arizona. McCormick's very close in Pennsylvania.
Not with the 98,000 votes if you count them in Arizona.
Right. Well, we may win by more than that, but that legal fight is still happening. Yeah. I mentioned to you. And Judge Weinberg has an excellent reasoning why it should go to federal court, and it should be decided there. And those ballots should be probably not those. If they don't know if they're citizens, those voters should be knocked off the rolls.
Absolutely. John McLaughlin, spot on. Thank you so much.
Keep
us posted, John. Thank you.
Keep fighting, John.
Thank you. And John, I want to play a little clip. You talked about your interview with Ron Johnson.
I talked to him this afternoon, and I want a little bit tidbit of what we talked about.
All right, and it's about, of course, Secret Service, some bombshells. Here it is.
Senator Ron Johnson, and he's on the Homeland Security Committee, and I believe they're doing an examination of what happened with the Secret Service. Senator Johnson, give the American people an update. What the heck is going on?
We released our bipartisan preliminary report from Homeland Security, the firm subcommittee investigation, and we issued a report, and I'll give you some highlights of that. Now, first of all, people need to realize most of what we know about what happened on July 13th comes from either local law enforcement or video audio from the general public. We've gotten very little information from the Secret Service and from the FBI. We've gotten some. We've been able to do 12 interviews. We've talked to 2 of the 4 snipers. But, I asked the Deputy Director of Bates in a hearing a couple weeks after the assassination, what about the transcripts of your interviews? What about the 302s? He said, well, let me check on that. We'll get those to you as soon as possible. They've done over 1,000 interviews. We've not gotten one of their transcripts, not one of the 302s. So they're not being cooperative. We don't have the autopsy. We don't have the toxicology report. We don't have the information they found out on Crooks. His social media accounts, the encrypted accounts that he apparently had overseas that they said they were easily able to crack. So what about this guy? Why don't we talk about that? Again, we don't have the autopsy, so we can't say, I mean, was there another wound? We know he had the fatal wound to the head from the Secret Service.
Senator, who pushed the button? I mean, who pushed the button for the body to be cremated? I mean, that is mind-boggling that the American people allowed that to happen.
Well, it was the FBI that released the body, and their explanation was, well, it's standard operating procedure to release the body.
For an assassination of the President of the United States, it's not standard operating procedure.
No, exactly. This is not a standard situation. This is an extraordinary situation. If you were asked to design an investigation that would heighten suspicion, drive conspiracy theories, this is exactly the way you handle it. You'd be completely opaque and just go about your daily business to, thumb in your nose at the American public and at Congress.
The January 6th truth is finally coming out. After 3 years, after 4 years, what are 3 years?
But it just shows how corrupt the J6 committee was, how really lightweight the Senate investigation was, and the House J6 committee, they destroyed all their evidence. So yeah, now
unbelievable.
They absolutely knew that Donald Trump requested the National Guard, but they buried that. They lied about it. Nancy Pelosi basically admitted responsibility.
Senator, I will tell you, the thing that came out in the last couple of days is that one of the generals at the Pentagon said that's not right to send the Army, and they did not follow the President of the United States recommendation and did it on his own, not to send the Army.
Right, and here's something pretty outrageous and highly suspicious. The texts from Secret Service phones were white, clean for January 6th. So we have no text from the airport. Now, that's a federal record. Those should be preserved. But they wiped out white clean. Oh, well, it's just kind of, standard operating procedure. Did they just allow it to happen? Well, listen, Senate report did. We said there were warnings. Did Speaker Pelosi, did congressional leadership just ignore those leaders? Did they encourage something to happen by not providing security? Did they just let it happen? I mean, it's such a stunning, spectacular security failure. Was that on purpose?
Wow. And tune in on Sunday, the Cats Roundtable between 9 and 10. And for the rest of the evening,
by the way, I can't wait to hear the rest of it. Wow.
I heard this before. That's treason. That is, a general going to countermand the president. Yeah, by the way, it wasn't a recommendation. It was an order. An order. Let's make sure that U.S. is saying anything about it. And he said, do it.
Yes. Who pressed the button to erase all the text messages from the Secret Services?
Yeah, and we don't know about the encrypted app. We still don't know.
I've been saying that.
And Congress doesn't know.
What's going on in this country?
There's something.
Until somebody gets held accountable, this will continue, and it will be a weapon against every
That's why you can't afford to have President Trump elected. And I'm telling you, every listener out there, if we don't get President Trump elected, and we don't get a congressional, Republican and a Senate GOP, guess what? All this stuff is going to be buried.
Yes, absolutely. You're right. They will fight it tooth and nail. Well, coming up, everybody, we have Andy McCarthy, former assistant U.S. attorney, and some big developments on lawfare against Trump. Unbelievable.
And now, Janine Pirro sounds off.
Is clutter messing up your life?
More after this.
The car insurance rates are going up, and the last time you saw a decrease was the Reagan administration. Folks, it's Sid at American Patriot Insurance. They put the freedom of choice back in your hands with their exclusive Rate and Bind online portal. Visit AMPAGINS.com. Call 888-322-3565 to save an average of 25% on auto, home, renters, business, even pet insurance.
Yep. What's up?
New book, Donald J. Trump and the Spiritual War. Bob reveals how the word black stirred up hatred igniting a spiritual war for the soul of America. Others reveal in the book that God has placed his hand on President Trump, allowing him to courageously bring America back to strength, prosperity, and to God. Or your copy of Blessed on
damaging, including one that found a link to decreased productivity and another that established a link between a medication and a compulsion to eat unhealthfully. There is something to be said about clutter. I cannot start any project unless my desk is clear. Everything has to come off the desk. That means I may have to deal with things on the desk, which takes time and then doesn't allow me to get to what I really need to do. Mess is stress. Okay, folks, you got that? Mess is stress. Clean up. Yes,
Keep listening for more entertaining and informative opinions from Judge Janine Pirro.
We're all truly blessed to have a leader like President Trump.
These are the words of Goya President and CEO Bob Unanue in his new book, Blessed, Donald J. Trump and the Spiritual War. Bob reveals how the of Goya Foods, igniting a spiritual war for the soul of America. Others reveal in the book that God has placed his hand on President Trump, allowing him to courageously bring America back to strength, prosperity, and to God. Order your copy of Blessed on Amazon now. Hitting a cutter thrown by New York Yankees closer Mariano Rivera is hard. So is getting a mortgage, especially these days.
America, making faith by saving stress, time, and money on your mortgage with my friends at Power Express Mortgage.
My friends at Power Express Mortgage, they provide no hassle loans, no tax returns, no pay stubs. Be part of the team. Call Power Express Mortgage. Your successful closing is their business. Call them at 800-826-2265, 800-826-2265. If not from me, take it from our closer, Mariano.
I want to make one more save for you and your home mortgage with my friends at Power Express Mortgage.
Power Express is at 1010 Northern Boulevard, Suite 426, Craig, New York, 11021, Equal Housing Lender, licensed mortgage banker, New York State Department of Financial Services, not a depository institution, and does not take deposit. All loans are subject to credit approval and program backlash. NMLS number 1324.
It's a common sense recap of the big stories. It's Cass and Cosby on 77 WABC.
And we are back here on Cass and Cosby, and wow, as we are talking about the assassination attempt, all Judge, this is in the January 6th case. Judge Tanya Chutkan is really overreaching. We're joined now by Andy McCarthy, former assistant U.S. attorney in the Southern District of New York. And Judge Weinberg, we were just talking, this is preposterous.
Andy, you know that she's allowing before the election submissions on evidence, proposed evidence from the government. You know that. Now she's just giving them hundreds of more pages.
And what that means is that could come up before the election.
Before the election. Isn't that election interference by this court?
Well, the whole objective of it was election interference. So it's not surprising that any one aspect of it is election interference, because that was the objective. And I imagine, look, this is very bad. It's very bad for the credibility of the court as an even-handed actor. On the other hand, if you had asked Trump, a year and a half ago, if he'd rather be on trial in front of Tanya Chutkan for, 2.5 months, 3 months in the waning days before Election Day, where he'd have to be in court every day and they'd be putting this evidence out in a highly publicized public trial every day, or in the alternative, they wouldn't be able to try him, but Jack Smith would be able to file like the Moby Dick of proffers to the court, and part of that would get released publicly. I think Trump would have taken this outcome,
But I respectfully submit, Andy, there's no reason to do it now. They could have waited until after the election. Why do it now? What's the rush to do it now?
The same rush that they had to try the case. There was no reason to try the case. There's no legally justifiable reason for it. The rational reason is because this has been a political exercise from the start. But I think that it's such a blatant political exercise that at this point, I doubt it moves the needle at all. People are not going to read a 200-page or whatever slimmed-down version is going to be made available publicly. And Judge, to your point, this goes to show this is totally a political exercise, because I just saw that they are concurrently preparing the sealed submission that they're going to give to Judge Shurkin and a version of it that could be released to the public. The only reason the election.
Panetta saying that the Patriot attack by Israel against Hezbollah, which is at war with Israel, is somehow akin to a terrorist attack. What are your thoughts on that?
I was never as enthralled by Leon Panetta as others were, but I thought he was a serious guy. And this was, I think he's got a screw loose. I think, it's a demagogic position, but it really makes me wonder whether he's still thinking rationally. I mean, Israel's at war, in a defensive war against Hezbollah. The objective, and it's really Iran, but the objective is the destruction of Israel. They'll be satisfied. The laws of war require that if you're going to conduct an attack, that it has to be discriminate, and it has to have been more discriminate, where you basically give Hezbollah the ability to assign out the devices that are going to its own fighters, and it was an effort to have as minimal collateral damage to civilians as possible, but at the same time do what they're allowed to do, which is take out a military target. The laws of war don't say that you can't win, and the laws of war don't say that there can't be any collateral damage. What proportionality means, even though they've totally distorted this concept in the media coverage and in the commentary among Democrats, what proportionality means is you assess the military significance of the target that you are trying to attack, and then you use as much military force as is needed to take the target out while making reasonable efforts to minimize civilian
Here you go, on tomato. Thank you, everybody. See you tomorrow. Peace and love. Peace and love. Thank you for your cooperation. See you tomorrow. Peace and love.